It's Friday, finally, and time for another drive to work and chat about D&D. I was thinking about it, and what I want to talk about today is party balance in D&D. What makes a balanced party? And a lot of people are going to automatically assume that I'm talking about the kind of party balance that you talk about in an MMO or something like that. Oh, you need a tank up front, and you need a healer, and you need a DPS, and in D&D, to me at least, you don't need that kind of a balanced party. If you don't have a cleric, it does mean that if someone, and this is of course something at high level where you're having to do it anyway, if someone dies, you're going to have to go seek out a resurrection. If you don't have a wizard, you're going to have to go find someone who can identify things. If you're missing a specific class in your party in D&D, it just changes the way that you quest. There are no required classes in a D&D party. What there are, however, are required roles. Now, when I say this, I'm not talking about, the role of a tank or the role of no, because that's not the case still. The roles that you need in a D&D party, first and foremost, you need a leader. A leader of the party is a required role. Now, whether this is an officially decided leader or whether it's just someone who steps up and does what needs to be done and makes those decisions, it doesn't matter how official it is, but a party needs someone to be the decision maker. And a lot of D&D players that I've seen are afraid to step up and be the party's leader, because they think the other players are going to think that they're being, domineering, or they're being greedy, or they're being whatever else people might think they're being. That they are somehow infringing on the game. But a party has to have a leader. When a party does not have a clear leader, or when that leader, or when the person who is viewed as the leader does not actually take charge, you end up with a game that's kind of wandering around, and you always hear the players saying things like, "Why are we doing this? What are we doing again? Idiot on a bike in front of me." But, you end up with a party that doesn't really know what they're doing or why they're doing it. They're kind of stumbling from place to place, following breadcrumbs that the DM's leaving, but they don't really know why they're doing it. They don't really know what they're trying to accomplish, because no one has stepped up and said, "This is what we're doing. This is why we're doing this." And there is nothing wrong with being your party's leader. Now, the only time that I find an issue with it, and pay attention here because it's an odd thing to say, but the time it becomes an issue is when the player becomes a leader, irregardless of the character. mean by that is, if you have the same player who always becomes the party's leader, irregardless of the character they're playing, that can become an issue. Now, what do I mean by that? If you have a strong player who is playing a titled knight who, according to the feudal system, outranks everyone else in the party, he's obviously a natural leader. Fine. But if in the next game that same player is playing a hermit from the woods who has absolutely no rank in society and is just tagging along with the group, that character is not a leader. So that player can't be the leader this time around. Someone else needs to step up. In some cases, you'll have someone who is in the game given some kind of official leadership role. A named noble, or a ship's captain, or some kind of a military rank that puts them above the others. When that is the case, that person who has that title needs to step up and lead. So that's our number one role. We need a leader. What other roles do we need in D&D? Well, we need a support. And by a support, what I mean is we need someone who is going to support the leader. Someone who is going to agree with the leader's decisions, who is going to enforce the leader's orders if the leader's not around, who is going to, if you want to go in sci-fi terms, or even in most military movie terms, you need a first officer. You need someone who is going to be an extension of the leader's will. Someone who's going to do what's needed to make sure the leader's orders get followed. That's a very important role. Because if your leader, for whatever reason, is not as enforcing as they need to be, if they come up with a plan but then don't follow through with it, then it's the job of the support to push that plan ahead to the group. To say, look, the leaders come up with this plan and we need to do it. Your support is the person that helps get the leader's plans actioned. Next, the third most important role in a D&D group. You need a dissenter. Now, dissent. Most people don't think about wanting to have that in their group. Conflict between the players. But if you don't have a voice who is willing to speak out and say, you know, I really think that's a bad idea. I really don't think we should do that. If you don't have that voice in the party, things can go very badly. Either your leader will become the one who's playing the game and everyone else is just NPCs following him around, or you will end up in a situation where things go badly and everyone blames the leader for coming up with the plan, but no one has actually said anything against the plan. If the leader says, I think we should attack the orcs, and no one says anything, then you attack the orcs and half of you die, you can't just blame the leader for that, because there were 3, 4, 5 other people there who should have had enough brains to think maybe a direct attack against 30 orcs is a bad idea. So you need someone who is willing to speak out against the leader. I'm not saying direct conflict. I'm saying someone who is willing to voice a different opinion. Now, I genuinely feel that as long as you have those 3 people in a group, you will have a balanced group. You can have more than 3 players. You can have more than 1 support. You can have more than 1 dissenter. You do have issues if you have more dissenters than support. If there are more people saying that the leader's plan is a bad idea than there are supporting the leader, then the odds are you've chosen the wrong leader. The balance in the group should always be the most people in the group should be supports, the next group should be the dissenters, and then 1 leader. If that's not the balance you have, you're going to have issues. Fairly straightforward there. So, based on that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today. It's Friday, it's the end of the week, and I'm almost to work, so go ahead, like, subscribe, check out the links at the end. I'll probably have the link to Geek and Sundry. That's where you can find Critical Role and all that good stuff. I'll definitely have the link to Matt Colville. He talks about D&D on YouTube, and he's probably a lot better at it than I am. I watch everything he puts out. He's got a lot of good stuff. Yeah, and I will see you tomorrow for a campaign catch-up, and then we'll be back on Monday with the predictions for the Monday game. Have a great day.